the media and residents who are tuning in to hear more about how you can protect yourself, your loved ones, and our community. We want to remind you that our website, covid19.lincoln.ne.gov, has a lot more information on topics relevant to COVID-19 and how to navigate resources and make the best of the challenges that we are facing. At that site, you will also find more data about the cases of COVID-19 and the testing that we are doing in Lincoln and Lancaster County at our online dashboard. That dashboard is updated twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Today in Lincoln, we've had an additional 35 individuals test positive for COVID-19. With the 9 cases we reported earlier today, that brings our total to 44. Over just the last 2 days, we've had 80 individuals test positive for COVID-19. That's 1/3 of the total number of cases, which stands now at 237 for our community. And again, while we are concerned and we're focused on preventing the spread of COVID-19, these numbers are not unexpected given that we are doing increased testing and have been able to perform more tests on a daily basis in this week. Bryan Health and CHI Health St. Elizabeth drive-through testing sites now have the capacity to perform 300 tests per day. Yesterday, they completed 178 tests. That's a one-day high for our community, but of course now we have the capacity to do more. So if you have symptoms, please get tested now. Here is the latest expanded list of symptoms for COVID-19 as indicated by the CDC. Fever, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, chills, repeated shaking with chills, repeated muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and a new loss of taste or smell. If you are experiencing these symptoms, any of these symptoms, please seek testing. The process is safe and easy and begins with an online risk assessment at chihealth.com or bryanhealth.com. At this time, only those with an order from CHI Health St. Elizabeth or from Bryan Health or from their doctor are permitted at the drive-through testing sites. If you don't have a primary care doctor, you can contact our health department here in Lincoln and Lancaster County, and that phone number is 402-441-8006, and they would be happy to provide assistance. Now, here to provide more details on the health department's investigation of our local cases of COVID-19 is Health Director Pat Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks. With the additional 44 cases today, we've added additional team members who are assisting us with the contact tracing. We are ensuring these people are isolating and close contacts are quarantined. There's been a lot of attention, and rightfully so, to the need for more testing. Testing is one of the critical components that we have to fight this pandemic. If you can't find the cases, there's no way to successfully do the contact tracing. But without contact tracing and being able to connect to potential cases early and have them quarantined safely, we won't be able to stop community spread. This is a crucial step to help protect the public by preventing exposure to people who have or may have the coronavirus. Today, we now have 8 Lancaster County residents who are COVID-19 positive, currently hospitalized, and 2 remain on ventilators. Overall, there are 30 patients in our hospitals that are COVID positive from outside Lancaster County and 4 on ventilators. The overall positivity rate for Lancaster County has increased from 3.2% last week to 6.3%. The state is also up from 7.5% last week to now at 15.7%, and the national rate remains at 18.5%. Yesterday, we mentioned that draft guidance documents are posted online for review. Based on the initial industry feedback and staff research, drafts of proposed requirements and guidance for different business types have been developed. These documents have been posted on the city's COVID-19 page under the Business Resource tab. We want business owners to take this opportunity to provide input to ensure practical guidance documents for their specific industry. Please review the documents and tell us about the impacts on your business. Use the specific contact information provided within each document to respond. We will need to continue to be innovative and find ways to combine public health measures with everyday business practices. Everyone has been incredibly receptive, and when the easing of health measures are decided, any loosening of the restrictions will be done with the health and safety of the public and the people who work in these service areas in mind.
Thank you, Director Lopez. It's especially important now that we continue to follow the recommendations of our health professionals to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our community. If you feel sick, stay home. If you have symptoms of COVID-19, get tested. Even if you feel well, stay home as much as possible and avoid interacting with anyone outside of your own household. And if you do go out, wear a face covering and stay at least 6 feet away from others. Wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, thoroughly and frequently. Our Lincoln residents have done an amazing job of flattening the curve, yet we cannot let our guard down, even as we discuss how we might ease our current restrictions. Remember that you are at risk of exposure anytime you are in public and around other people. For today's briefing, we want to shine a spotlight on the positive outcomes that are emerging from a unique feature of our community. In Lincoln, we are one city with one school district, a rare situation that now more than ever before is proving to be a source of pride, unity, and outcomes for our residents. We in Lincoln are fortunate that our citywide public school system not only provides a high-quality education to our students, but also serves as a critical community anchor and a critical partner to the city of Lincoln. Today we want to highlight the incredible results coming out of collaborations between Lincoln Public Schools, the city, our healthcare system, and businesses as we work together to meet the demands and the needs of our community during this pandemic. In the earliest stages of this pandemic, the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department convened school leaders throughout our county to address their concerns and provide public health guidance as needed. Our health department has maintained close contact with LPS ever since, and with tremendous results. Those results are making a real difference to our efforts to defeat this virus. From providing space at several LPS school sites for volunteers to sew protective gowns that our health department then distributes to people on the front lines, to managing a drive-through COVID-19 testing site at North Star High School, to working with our health team to amplify our contact tracing efforts with the assistance of school nurses, to collaborating with our city-county tech team and the private sector to expand access to Wi-Fi for students in need, LPS has been a leader, and we at the city are deeply grateful for our partnership and their leadership. I'm joined today by LPS Superintendent Dr. Steve Joel, who will speak more about these collaborative efforts and partnerships and how LPS is rising to the challenges posed by this pandemic. Dr. Joel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It's a true pleasure to be here today, and I want to first start by thanking you for your great leadership in the city, through the community, and to Pat Lopez as well, the health department. You know, from the day that we learned that we were going to be in a pandemic, even though we weren't quite sure what that entailed, the communication from your office and from the health department has been excellent, and for that we very much appreciate that. As you mentioned, Mayor, we do feel like we're community contributors, and that while we're primarily responsible for the education of 42,000 students, and I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of that right now. We're getting better every day, stronger every day. We also know that a big part of our mission is to help and assist where we can. And so you highlighted a few things. I'll talk about those briefly. There's a drive-through testing center at North Star School that we're maintaining and helping staff, and I think that that's gone very, very well. We also, as you alluded to, we have custodians at a couple of different sites that are working on manufacturing sewing gowns. And we've also tried to determine if there's ways that we can get involved in the manufacture of masks and some other things. I'm very, very proud of LPS employees because they're always asking, what can we do to help support the effort? And we know that the folks that are on the front line, those in our healthcare industry, are the ones that, really need our support as much as we can give them, and we're happy to do that. I would also point out that we're very, very excited, if you will, to help with the contact tracing that the health department has initiated. And we have nurses that are very, very skilled and very available and very interested in helping support that. We're working on the details of what that might look like. But I do believe that that'll be something that'll be beneficial, as we've heard our health department folks, not only at the local level, but of course across the country, talk about how important it is to track and trace contacts. So we're excited to be a part of that as well too. I must add as well that we're doing our part with social distancing and making sure that we're adhering to the guidance that you've been giving us, Mayor and Pat, with regard to 6 feet, and making sure that we practice excellent sanitation habits as well too. One of the things that we're really proud of in Lincoln, and I think people that have heard me speak before, they know that we're in a community that cares very, very deeply about everybody, and no more so than 42,000 students. And I recall that when we had to make a decision, when we realized we were going to remote learning, we had a couple of issues that were pretty intense with us. One of them was, how are we going to get Chromebooks or devices to kindergarten through second grade? And then how are we going to provide broadband or internet access to folks that don't have that? And our surveys have indicated that we have a large portion of our families that do have some access, although it's very, very limited in most cases. And so we reached out to the community, and you helped us with that as well. And we're very, very proud to say that, in addition to, we've been able to obtain Chromebooks to help our kindergarten through first and second graders get more support. But we've also been able to really broaden internet access in the community, and that's through some partnerships with our providers. And I think there's going to be some more information on that a little bit later, so I don't want to go into detail, but I do want to thank Allo, Windstream, AT&T, and Charter Spectrum for coming forward and providing either free and or greatly reduced prices for some of our families. We've been able to, just in the last couple of weeks, provide 500 hotspots for students that we know that are struggling, and that's been very successful. So we really appreciate the opportunity to collaborate and work together. And I go back to, I think it was the first week we put out a call for Chromebook bags, because we knew we had to send an awful lot of those home at the lower primary level, and I think we had close to 10,000 within about a week, which is nothing short of phenomenal. And this is a community that continues to give, and so we're very, very thankful for that. I will say that there's been a lot of questions about the reopening of school, and of course we're following guidance that's being distributed to us. And right now we're working on the closing of the school year down, and then we're going to do a synchronous summer school. Details are on our website if parents and or students listening are interested in that. And then we're not really concerning ourselves with the reopening of school until we have more information. So we're going to be dependent upon you, Mayor, and Pat Lopez and others to continue to guide us. But in closing, I just want to say to the Lincoln community and the city of Lincoln and the county health department, thank you for the collaboration. Thank you for the information that you're providing. Thank you for the support. I can tell you that we're figuring out remote learning. It's getting stronger every day. Our engagement rates are much, much higher than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so if we ever confront this situation again, we'll be in a position to really deal with that in a very, very effective way. So with that, I appreciate very much the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joel. We appreciate your leadership, the leadership of the school board, and all of your staff and the teachers who are having to innovate and adapt. I know I have a friend who teaches 5th grade, and she had to student who emailed her a message all in the subject line. So we've all got a lot of learning and adapting and evolving to do. As Steve shared, one of the areas of collaboration with LPS, the city, and the private sector is in the area of digital inclusion, which has taken on renewed importance and urgency during this pandemic. And when we say digital inclusion, we really mean three things: access to the internet, access to IT devices like Chromebooks and computers, and access to the tools and knowledge necessary to take full advantage of these digital platforms, something we refer to as digital literacy. We're really proud in Lincoln to boast a fiber-to-the-home network across the city that makes Lincoln one of only 25 smart gigabit communities in the entire United States, and the 6th fastest internet city among top U.S. cities. Before COVID-19, we knew that digital inclusion was critical to economic and workforce development, as digital literacy has become an increasingly key factor in professional and business success. We also knew that digital inclusion was a significant driver of social connections and civic engagement. Well, now, digital inclusion has become essential to every aspect of our lives, from education to healthcare to public safety. It's never been more important to close the digital divide and ensure that everyone has access to the technology and tools they need to succeed. Here to speak on the closing the digital divide in the realm of education and in our community is David Young, our city's Chief Information Officer. And with that, David, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. In support of our city during these challenging times, the City of Lincoln is partnering with ALLO and LPS in a new push to connect students throughout our community. To that end, we are excited to announce our new Learn from Home program. ALLO and LPS have begun testing a unique wireless network specifically designed for LPS Chromebooks. Based on the results of these tests, ALLO and LPS will begin installing free LPS wireless service in certain locations around the city with the highest densities of unconnected students. For this to be effective and for us to really close that digital divide for students, we need your help in identifying locations that will help serve unconnected students. We are asking you to reach out to us and to share your connection needs. Please call ALLO at 402-480-6550 or send us an email at mayor@lincoln.ne.gov. If you know of an address where a student lives that lacks internet connectivity. There are a couple of special issues here that are worth mentioning. For those who live in apartment complexes, access rights to some locations can be a challenge. We encourage parents with students in apartment complexes where broadband challenges exist to contact their apartment management team and request access for our Learn from Home project. Students who live outside of the city are also facing connection challenges. We are currently working with the county board to create a broadband strategy for Lancaster County to ensure that every student can connect. I want to share my gratitude with LPS CIO Kurt Langer and ALLO's Chief Technologist Jeff Kinney. Their teams have embraced this technology challenge with a can-do attitude. Thank you both. Mayor?
Thank you so much, David, for your work with LPS and with community broadband partners to try and close the digital divide for our students and their families. In addition to closing the digital divide for students, our community broadband partners have stepped up to try to close the digital divide for our residents by offering free internet for a period of time for eligible members of the community. The most recent data shows that about 89% of Lincoln households have some type of internet access at home, but that means that there are still some in our city who lack access. The people who lack internet access tend to be the people who most need access, such as the unemployed, people with less than a high school diploma, and communities of color. Here at the city, we are grateful to our community broadband partners for providing new offerings to address this vital community need. Here to speak to ALLO's new offering is ALLO Communications President Brad Moline. With that, Brad, I'd hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody from the city, LPS, and Windstream Charter. I think Lincoln is in a very unique position here to succeed right now, and I think we are succeeding. The first thing that Allo has offered is we built a world-class fiber network. We're within 50 to 150 feet of 95, 6, 7, 8% of all the homes in Lincoln. So you can get a wireline fiber solution. Or for those who haven't selected to do that, then we can do the Wi-Fi and wireless solution that has been talked about. So the first item is we're everywhere. The second is so what are we doing to make the economics work a little better for learn to home, from home, and work from home? One, we're offering anyone who doesn't have a wireline connectivity today a 50 by 50 service, that's 50 upload. To anyone without current service, we're giving them 60 days free so that they can learn, or the number one thing is right after learning is staying employed, staying with the ability to work. So we have that. The other thing is long-term with the partnership with the Public Service Commission and Lincoln Public Schools, we offer $10 a month service ongoing for those that qualify for your reduced lunch, but that's also at 50 meg down, 50 meg up. You should be able to have a great experience, video calls and those types of things. And then the last is for anyone receiving a government subsidy at 50 by 50, we can offer $35 a month. So there's many on the lower income or challenged income side. And then finally, we're working with many of our business partners and their work at home with a 500 by 500 solution where the business can bill Allo directly for the work from home. And we're seeing a great solution there. We can get it installed very quickly, but we are always giving preference to the students. So as our installation and our groups are become backlogged a little bit, we're trying to move the students to the front of the line because of how important that is. So again, thank you for the partnership with everybody involved. And that's the solution for what Allo is offering.
Thank you so much, Brad. We appreciate all you've done. Here to speak to Windstream's new offering is Windstream's Vice President of Governmental Affairs and a former Lincoln City Councilman, Trent Fellers. Trent, over to you.
I'm doing good. You always have to throw that part in there, don't you?
I do.
Hey, we're pleased to be here with you, and we appreciate all the work that you and leaders at the state and all throughout the city are doing to help keep us safe. Windstream signed on to the FCC's Keeping Americans Connected pledge through the end of May. Kinetic by Windstream will not suspend service to residential or small business customers because of the inability to pay their bills, specifically due to disruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Also during this time, we will waive any late fees because of customers' economic circumstances, specifically related to the pandemic as well. If customers find themselves needing help due to these circumstances, they should contact us to discuss some options. We're also offering discounts to customers that qualify for Lifeline benefits, and those benefits are first 2 months free, the $50 activation fee waived, no contract term or commitment, no data caps, and we would need a Lifeline qualification code. If there's anyone in Lincoln that's interested or in the surrounding area that's interested in that promotion, they can go to windstream.com or contact our local store at 402-436-4500.
Thank you so much, Trent, what you and Windstream are doing. And finally, we have Jeremiah Blakey, who's the Director of Governmental Affairs for Charter Spectrum, who's here to speak about Charter's new offering. Jeremiah?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your leadership of our city during this very challenging time. We really appreciate that. So again, my name is Jeremiah Blakey. I live here in Lincoln, working for Charter Communications. Most people probably know us by our brand name Spectrum. We are one of the largest companies that providing cable TV, internet, and phone service. So as our country works collectively to contain this pandemic, we all know that broadband internet access has become more important than ever. Myself, I've transitioned to working with home. I have 3 young kids at home, so I understand the challenge that this places on families here in Lincoln. We often have multiple devices connected to the internet at the same time, doing work, homework, Zoom meetings, and other activities. So to help ease the strain during this challenging time, Charter has made a number of commitments to get and keep families and businesses connected here in Lincoln. First, we're offering Spectrum Internet, including in-home Wi-Fi, free for 60 days to new customers and with school-aged children, pre-K through college, as well as professional educators. And second, we will not charge late fees or terminate service for residential or small business customers who experience economic hardship as a result of coronavirus. We announced these initiatives in mid-March, and yesterday we announced that we are extending these commitments through June 30th. In addition, Charter has donated airtime to run public service announcements related to the coronavirus, including a PSA by Coach Frost on the importance of social distancing. And last but not least, I just want to take a moment to thank my coworkers, including the field technicians, the engineers, and the customer care representatives. We've always regarded them as essential employees, but probably more so now than ever. To recognize their efforts, we have implemented an immediate pay increase of $1.50 an hour for our frontline employees in field operations and customer operations. And we will increase our minimum wage for all hourly employees to $20 an hour in 2022. And finally, we've also committed that no employee will be let go or furloughed for at least 60 days during this time of uncertainty. So if anybody would like more information about the offers or anything else I talked about today, feel free to visit spectrum.com or call 1-844-579-3743. Thanks again, Mayor, for this opportunity to talk about how Charter is supporting our neighbors here in Lincoln.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah, and thanks to Spectrum for all that you're doing. In this world of physical distancing, the best and often only way that we connect with one another is through digital and remote platforms. Now more than ever before, we must commit to creating a fully digitally inclusive city. And I'm so thankful to our partners in the public and private sector for helping to get us closer to this goal. Thank you so much for all that you have done to move the needle in our community. Moving on, we're going to give you some good news from across the city. We want to report that over 35 people have signed up to volunteer through our NeighborLink program. The NeighborLink program is designed to facilitate personal connections by directly linking healthy volunteers with seniors or persons with disabilities who are homebound and who are seeking additional supports as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many people may be living alone right now, but they need not feel alone. We have a community of compassionate individuals who are stepping up and reaching out in a variety of ways. And on behalf of a grateful city, we thank you for your service. And you can sign up and find out more about NeighborLink at our website, covid19.lincoln.ne.gov. In other news, CHI St. Elizabeth and Nebraska Heart expressed their gratitude to more than 1,500 healthcare workers yesterday throughout the city by posting signs in their yards that read, "Hero lives here." I bet everyone agrees with that. There's been an outpouring of appreciation for our healthcare heroes from members of our Lincoln community, which has manifested itself in increased food and supplies donations, as well as letters and cards of support. We want to thank everyone in the Lincoln community for recognizing our local heroes. And finally, we want to remind you of an amazing opportunity to learn about new job opportunities with Lincoln companies that are hiring right now. On May 5th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you can participate in a drive-through job fair that's taking place at Gateway Mall. The way it works is that you drive up and receive a bag full of information on open jobs and how to apply for them, along with other relevant information. For more information, you can go to our website, covid19.lincoln.ne.gov, or click on the Resident Resources tab there. And with that, we'd be happy to open up the briefing for questions.
This is Bill with 1011 question for Director Lopez.
Thanks, Bill. She'll be right up.
Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon. Yesterday you said 23 cases were tied to Smithfield. I was curious if you had an updated number on that.
You know, Bill, I don't today, but I should tomorrow. We have our investigators, our contact tracers, our nurses are working very diligently to tie everything together. We know you're anxious to hear that information, and we are too. So I promise tomorrow we'll have information about those cases.
And how many active contact tracers do you have right now?
Right now, we have 16 nurses that we can employ to do this. And at the moment, we have 10 of them engaged in doing the tracing.
Director Lopez, Riley Johnson from the Journal Star.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Oh, sorry. So one of the things that has begun to be reported out of Douglas County on their dashboards is active or sort of recovered cases. Does our health department, do your staff plan to sort of report that information when it becomes available? And what sort of sense do your staff have on how many active cases of the disease there are?
Well, right now, Riley, the active cases, we have so many that are past the infection time, and we are currently working to get you that information, get it on our website, and we hope to have that done by next week early. We were actively engaged going back in because there weren't guidelines at first about how we should define the recovered cases other than the CDC 2 tests, which we know really wasn't possible with the shortage. So we're going back now and doing additional follow-up with everyone, and our goal was to have it up by this week, but since our caseload is nearly doubled, we've used the staff to really work on the contact tracing. And I think yesterday, Bill, just to make sure, we actually have 18 nurses and 10 of them are deployed right now working on contact tracing.
Director Lopez, when you talk about positivity rate and as we go forward and get towards the end of the current BHM, what is a benchmark or what is an indication of a positivity rate that is showing too much spread of the virus in the community? I mean, you've given the benchmark for the state rate and the national rate, and we're under those, but is there a threshold where you become concerned about the rate of positive tests in overall testing?
Well, this would be if we exceeded the state rate. We're also watching we want to stay under a double-digit positivity rate, but then we have to think about the number of cases we have in accordance with the amount of testing that's being done. So we definitely want to be under a double-digit. But we're going to monitor that, and just like we said, every day things change with this virus, and so staying there is where we hope to be.
This is Bill again with 1011. Some big business news coming out today was that Gateway has decided to reopen. I was curious if they had any discussions with you. I know you never forced them to close, but it seems an odd time to reopen as cases are jumping so significantly.
Well, we weren't aware of that happening. We've had discussions with several businesses, and we certainly are available to Gateway to assist them and any of the business owners there with any information that they need. From what we've seen, it sounds like they're trying to implement all measures available so that people can be safe and protected. But of course, we are really encouraging people not to go out except for essential items and to definitely use face coverings, and those that are at greater risk because of an underlying health condition or their age, we certainly don't advocate that they go to a center for shopping.
Pat, I have a question from Channel 8. With Lincoln hitting its peak now, is May 11th too soon to ease the DHM for Lincoln and Lancaster?
I think the measure, as the mayor mentioned yesterday, and I've mentioned, it's one of the factors that we're watching very closely to see what happens. And as you can see in just the last 5 days, the difference we have, we can't predict what the next 5 days are. So we're going to stay steadfast in monitoring all those measures that we've discussed, like the positivity rate, contact tracing, our healthcare capacity, and others, to see what's going to be the best thing for our community.
Any other questions from the media? All right, well, thank you so much for tuning into this community briefing, and thank you to all who joined us to help get out the word about how to keep yourself safe, your loved ones safe, and of course our entire community safe. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:30. Thank you.